Okay, the chapters that we are starting from now, these chapters are basically, I would not say not important. I would not say not important, but these chapters have an off and on repetition. I guess you can guess what is the meaning of off and on repetition. The off and on repetition means that they may come in the exam or may not. Like if you see if you try examining, if you try looking at the past papers for maybe past 2 years or past two sessions, maybe the May June and the October November of 2023, you'll come to know that the topic of sexual reproduction in humans is barely followed there. It is barely followed. It is barely followed there. And another very strange thing, one of the most technical topic that is about to come after this one, the inheritance, that topic even is not followed that much in the past two sessions. So that is the biggest information about the exam that we should know, that no doubt these are the two most difficult chapters that we need to study, but still they don't have that much reputation in the exams. Instead, the digestive system, the transport in humans, the enzymes, the, the transport in plants, the nutrition in plants, these chapters have more reputation, more importance for the exams. Understood?
Yes.
Now, moving forward, we are going to talk about the sexual reproduction in humans. In this chapter, we'll be talking about this chapter only is covered in P1 and P2 only. There is no topic. Sorry, I'm really sorry. P2 and P4. It gets mixed with the O levels because I'm preparing the O level students these days as well. So every time this happens, I tell them that this question would appear in P2 and P4, and I tell the IGCSE student that this would appear in P1 and P2 because it's the same thing. The P1 in O level is P2 here, and P2 in O
Yeah.
level is P4 here. So basically, it gets mixed. All right. So P2 and P4, and in this chapter, the contents that we'll be talking about are the structure of gonads, the structure of gonads, and the gonads are basically testicles and ovaries. Even I would not say that the structure, more like a location of gonads. Structure would mean that we'll be cutting it down and then we'll be examining it. No, 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 no. We'll not, we are not going to do that. Basically, we'll be talking about the structure or location of gonads and the pathway of gametes. Pathway of gametes from gonads to outside the body. From gonads to outside the body. And then we'll be talking about some hormones, the hormones that we left there in chemical coordination. If you remember, I told you that some of the hormones will not be studying. Instead, we'll be talking about those hormones only in the reproduction chapter. So those are the hormones we'll be talking about here. And a very important thing we'll be talking about is the menstrual cycle. One of the most this is if I say that any question can appear for 6 marks or maybe 4 marks from this chapter, that would be included from this topic, menstrual cycle. So a small description is also written down there in the form of text. The description of male and female sexual parts, phenomena of gamete formation and menstrual cycle, that is that is going to be discussed there. All right, now moving on, the general concept of animal reproduction, we have been talking about this earlier as well, that actually the any in any kind of in any kind of reproduction, one rule is universal, that is sperm has to meet egg. sperm has to meet egg. It's a very clear cut, very you can say general and universal phenomena for the living things, not only for the animals. The location where these gametes are made, the sperms and eggs are made, they can vary. Obviously, in males and females, even in animals, it varies. And then we know that we have discussed it already, that there is a cell division called as meiosis, a cell division called as meiosis that happens in the gonads only. No other part, no other part of the body, no other part of the body would be performing the meiosis. This has to be kept in mind. No other part of the body would be performing the meiosis. Only to make the gametes will be doing the meiosis. The meiosis would divide the one parent cell into four daughter cells. All are containing half number of chromosomes, and then they are meant to fuse with each other. That is called as fertilization. Any confusion till here?
No.
All right. Now, once they combine, the structure that is made is called as the zygote. The structure that is made is called as the zygote, and it would later divide by mitosis into an embryo. Basically, once the zygote is made, now all everything is about the mitosis. The meiosis is only for the formation of gametes. After that, everything is about the mitosis. So it is like that. Now there are a few brainstorming questions here. One thing, I guess it is very clear to you. Can you answer the question number one?
How do gametes um do they mean differ from somatic cells, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Um, I think gametes are just located in reproductive organs, and somatic cells make up the tissues of the organs.
Okay. Anything else? There's a very major difference. There's a very major difference on which the
Is it something to do with
reproduction
the
depends.
diploid?
Yes. I although haven't explained the diploid or haploid, but I'll explain now. Um, okay, I'll explain it in a way in very simple form because we don't need that much of a detail. We'll be talking about the detail in the inheritance chapter, that what is real meaning. First, remember that the haploid means that you would have a single set or a set of 23 in the nucleus of a gamete. That is a haploid. That is the definition of a haploid cell or a haploid nucleus. But when it comes to diploid, the diploid means that you would have all the 46 chromosomes in the all the or the 46 DNA molecules in the nucleus. So that is called as diploid cell. So out of these, which are diploid and which are haploid? Gametes and somatic. Which are diploid and which are haploid?
Gametes are haploids, right?
Gametes are haploid. Yeah. Okay. Next, why should gametes have haploid set number of chromosomes? Obviously, the right after that, why should gametes have haploid? Why they cannot have diploid number of chromosomes?
I don't know.
That's a very important part. Basically, to keep the number of chromosomes, to keep the number of chromosomes in next generations constant. In next generations constant. Suppose, suppose, let's go back to the previous slide. Suppose that instead of 23 plus 23, you combine 46 plus 46. How many chromosomes would there be in the next generation? Would be there in the next generation 92.
Yeah.
Then if you combine 92 plus 92, that would be, I guess, whatever. Then if you don't reduce the chromosome number to half in every generation, then the chromosome number would keep on increasing. That is not required and that is not normal. So that is why they have to be reduced to half. So, and that happens just because of the meiosis. Otherwise, that would be increased. So, meiosis is very important in maintaining the number of chromosomes as well as the variety. Variety is very important, and there is a phenomena occurs in meiosis that leads to variety. What do we? What that phenomena is called? That leads to variety in meiosis.
Um, variety in meiosis. Forgot the name. Um,
Okay, the name of that system is name of that phenomena is the crossing over.
okay.
Crossing. All right. Now the male reproductive system. Okay. Now there is a concept related to the male reproductive system. I would remove the myths about the male reproductive system today. A few myths. The only reproductive part, the real reproductive part of the male reproductive system is the testicles. The rest of the parts are just there to support the movement of the sperms. The organ that is called as penis is not the reproductive part. It can be used as, but it's not the reproductive part. So that has to be understood that the real reproductive part are the testicles. Why do we write the testicles? Because they are in pair. These are two organs. They have to be present externally because their enzymes their normal temperature is around 34. Their normal temperature is around 34. So that is why they have to be kept outside. The body core temperature is 37. So they have to be kept outside. They are kept in a flap of skin called as scrotum. Remember that the scrotum does not contain any muscle, any covering, any bone, which is why, and it has a lot of pain receptors. Why there are pain receptors in a particular organ? Remember, the pain is a blessing. The pain would inform you that there is a problem. So always remember, the intense the pain, the more important that organ is. So always remember that, and there is another explanation of it, that intense the pain, it means that more pain receptors are there, and there is no covering of scrotum by by any particular tissue, muscle, or any bone. That is why a lot of pain occurs there. But it has to keep it. It has to be kept like it, because if you place the tissue layers above it to cover it, it would increase the temperature, and that would damage the development of sperms. We need 34 degrees Celsius for the development of sperms. That is why we need to keep it outside. Once you see these are the testicles, and always remember that we have discussed that they are in two, they're in pair, and these testicles can be seen like this from the side. The testicles, when if you see the testicles, there is a in the microscope, or maybe a bit by magnifying it, you will see the testicles have very particular ducts inside them. Now remember, this is the transverse section. This is not the testicle as it is. This is the transverse section. All right. Now I'm not going to tell you what we call all these uh, strangled tubules. These are tubules, but these all tubes combine at a common point. These all tubes combine at a common point, a duct that goes outside the testicles, and this duct is called as epididymis, and some people call this epididymis. You can see it over here, or you can also see it over here, epididymis. So this is basically an exit from the testicles. So we name it a different duct. This is a very different duct. Now the epididymis, these epididymis or epididymis ducts would enter into another particular duct called as sperm duct. Now what is the, see, why the sperm duct? Remember that sperm duct is different. This is the sperm duct. The sperm duct is basically leading all the sperms into the body. Remember that epididymis is outside the body, inside the testicles. Again, I'm telling you that the epididymis, oh sorry, the testicles are present outside, and epididymis is very close to testicles. So epididymis or epididymis is outside the body, but it is the sperm duct that would take the sperms into the body. Why? Because now the sperms have to travel to the organ called as penis, which is the muscular organ. The muscular organ, basically the penis contains two ducts. One is called as urethra for urination, and the other one is another duct to push the sperms out. Basically, urethra is common. Urethra is common. It would uh, the urethra would function for urination when it is required, and it would function for releasing the sperms when that time comes. So the sperms would enter into sperm duct, and the sperm duct would take the sperms into the body. Now, a genuine question can be asked here. What is that genuine question? That why the sperms are made outside, but we are now sending the sperms into the body. Doesn't it damage the skin? Doesn't it damage the sperm? Like we have said, that the sperm require 34 degrees Celsius for the production. Now, if we are saying that the sperm requires 34 degrees Celsius for the production, now after the production, we are sending the sperm into the body through sperm duct. Doesn't that destroy it? The answer is no. Why? Because the development requires 34 degrees Celsius. Once they are developed and a bit matured, now 37 degree is okay for them. So the sperm would be traveling throughout the sperm duct, and the two sperm duct taking a turn from above the ureter. From above the ureter, both the sperm ducts would take a turn, and they would enter into another duct called as, obviously we know it, urethra, a common path for the urine as well as the sperms. Okay, now a very important thing is to understand here is that sperms are not ejaculated alone. They are ejaculated in the form of a solution, and that solution is called as the semen. Now, obviously, we know that from where the sperms are coming. The sperms are coming from the testicles. But from where the semen is coming, remember, the semen is being made by the seminal vesicle. You can see there on the extreme right, the very first label is the seminal vesicle. The semen would be made by another gland called as the Cowper's gland, although they have many other functions, and the semen is also made by another gland called as the prostate gland. prostate gland. So the the semen contains the water, the semen contains the sugar, the semen contains a bit acidic pH, it contains the buffer. The buffer is very important, remember, because the buffer, if the pH changes, the sperm would not survive. They are very fragile, very much fragile, and the buffer has to be kept there because they would be destroyed otherwise. They would be destroyed otherwise. Now, the another thing about the prostate gland, you need to remember this. The prostate gland basically is a type of gland that also help in tightly holding the opening of urethra. I'm sorry, the opening of urinary bladder, urinary bladder at the time of ejaculation. This is very important to know. At the time of ejaculation, a very strong muscular contraction is happening. And you know that when a person urinates, the muscles are being used. The muscles are being used. So if the ejaculation is happening with the help of muscle contraction, then it means that the during ejaculation, urine can also come out. Urine can also come out because the muscle contraction is happening in the same area. The area we use for urination is the same area that we use for ejaculation. So muscle contraction is happening. During ejaculation, the urine must not come out. So that is why the prostate gland holds it tighter, and this grip can be loose, can become loose in the older ages. In the older ages, and this is the gland which you can say that one of the most common type of cancer happens in the males, also treatable, which is the uh, prostate cancer. Anyways, after this, due to muscle contraction, the sperm would move into the urethra, and due to muscles, they would be pushed outside. The structure of the sperm is this. You okay? Any question from above here?
No, it's all clear.
All right. So now the sperms, they look like this. Most important thing in the sperm, obviously the whole structure is important. The initial part in the head is the acrosome. Acro basically refers to head. Acro refers to head, and some or soma refers to body. A body present in the head. This contains actually the enzymes to digest the egg wall. Enzymes to digest the outer wall of egg. Wall of egg. So these are digestive enzymes, or these are also called as acrosomal enzymes. Since the sperm is a cell, so it would contain the cytoplasm, it would contain a nucleus containing 23 chromosomes there. Cell surface membrane, since it's a cell, it's very obligatory for it to contain the surface membrane. Mitochondria, in the middle piece you will find the mitochondria. Why it would be containing the mitochondria? For respiration, for energy. And why would it require energy? Remember that we know that the sperm swim. They swim with the help of the tail. So the whole energy is being made by the mitochondria. It is provided to the tail through which it swims. And also remember that the semen contains the sugar that would be provided for the respiration. So that is how it moves. This is very important to know, the whole pathway of the sperm movement: testicles or testes, epididymis, sperm duct, urethra, and outside. We have explained this thing very clearly over here. Okay, any question?
No. No
All right.
question.
So just hold on. I have from here maybe. Okay. This is a 3D picture. You can see that this is this thick covering, this fourth one, this is the epididymis. Okay. The outer layer, the transparent layer, is the scrotum. This is the epididymis, and this is the sperm duct. You see, from the epididymis, you can see the sperm duct is coming out, entering into the body. This is the sperm duct. And this is the same sperm duct that is also called as vas deferens. And I guess you know there is a phenomena called as vasectomy.
Yeah. So it closes the gland basically, right?
It clears, sorry,
It blocks the gland, the
it
cord.
blocks the, yes, it blocks the cord, or they completely cut the cord. So this is the cord that is being cut. And after this, you can see basically this is coming just above, from above the ureter, and this is the seminal vesicle. If you want to see, you can see it over here, the seminal vesicle. This one is the seminal vesicle. So over here you can see the third number is the seminal vesicle. This is the prostate. They are not showing the bladder over here. This is the prostate, and from the prostate the duct would enter into the penis, and from here, from this side, it would enter into the penis, and then the muscles are there that would be help to ejaculate, that would be helping in ejaculation. All right. This is some, just some extra information. It is not required. Okay, let me save it. Just hold on a second. Let me open it again, because I'll be okay. Now, female reproductive system. One thing needs to be cleared here, and that is the testicles are not only the organs that release the sperms. They are responsible for the release of testosterone, and testosterone is a very important hormone. We'll be discussing about this later. Okay, so the next is the female reproductive system. The female reproductive system, Um, quite different, but remember the gonads are still in pairs. The gonad is the ovary, so they are still in pairs, and we would say in the reproductive system we include ovary, uterus, not mostly the uterus, but it has to be included. Another important organ, vagina. So ovary is always in pairs, and from ovary it is it is like obviously very you can say common thing that ovary is supposed to be making the ovum or ova, the egg. Now you have to understand that once the ovary is done making the egg, it would release the egg into these ducts, horn like ducts called as oviducts. They have another very different name called as fallopian tubes. And uh, over here, once the egg is released, the egg waits for the sperm here for 2 days. For 24 to 48 hours, the egg waits for it. Remember, we have already constructed a phenomena, a concept that the egg has to wait for the sperms, or the sperm has to travel to the egg. The egg would not go to the sperm. This is very clear, very common, very obvious understanding. Now, once the ovary has released the egg would wait for 2 days there. If the egg is not receiving the sperm, now the egg would start moving ahead and it would become non-receptive. If you know the menstrual cycle, the monthly period of the female, then almost at the 14th day, the egg is released. So if it is released at the 14th day, it would wait till 16th day. And after which it would become non-receptive. It becomes non-receptive, meaning that now no benefit of the sperm entry. No benefit of the sperm entry. Now the egg would keep on moving here, and ultimately it would be released into this part. Very, 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 very important. This part is called as the uterus. It is the section of the uterus. And the outer part obviously is uterine lining. The uterus is a muscular part, but also it contains blood vessels. And you need to know this very, very clearly, very, very, you can say that you must not think twice about it. The internal lining of the uterus is called as the endometrium. Endometrium, and endometrium is the lining that is built, breaks, and rebuilt during menstrual cycle. You can say that the blood that is released during the menstrual cycle is not actually the blood. It's not actually the blood, it's the whole structure. It's the muscles present on the inside of the uterus. Just imagine if someone takes some meat out of you, that is the real feeling of the
Okay.
menstrual flow. So endometrium is the layer. We'll be repeating this name. That is why I'm emphasizing that the internal lining of the uterus is endometrium. Okay, then the opening of the uterus, this point is opening of the uterus. This is very important, called as cervix, and has to open. It has to open for the sperms to travel to the oviduct. Remember that the cervix only opens twice in a month. Once at the day during the days when the egg is waiting. During the days when the egg is waiting. Egg is waiting. And then after it, uh, it opens during menstrual flow. During pregnancy, it is very strictly locked. And for the females which who accidentally suffer some, you can say, hit, this door can open, and two things happen. Sometimes the pregnancy is aborted, and on the other times, the gynecologist stitch it. They just stitch it. So after that, we will see a very important part here in which the sperms have to be loaded. This part is called as the vagina, the part where the sperms are loaded. And then the last part is the vulva, the outer side. So obviously you can see the same things from here. It is a bit disturbing diagram, so you can see it from here. It's very clear, and we can also have a look at the 3D models. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Okay, so the yellow one is the ovary, and then this is the oviduct. This is just the attachment of the ovary, the this part. Then this is the oviduct or fallopian tube. The thicker part, the muscular part, is the um, uterus. Then the rest of the part, we know very well that the opening of it would be called as vagina. Um, this is the cross section. You can see the muscularity of the uterus. This is look at the third part. This is the front part. Obviously, this is the front part of the uterus. They are showing it from the back. The fallopian tube is opening into it. This is the uterus, and you can see that how muscular it is. Why it has to be so much muscular? This is very important concept. It has to hold the baby, and 2 to 3 kgs is the limit of the uterus. Maybe 4 kg is the limit of the uterus to hold the babies, and that happens like those females which are having the twins or triplets or quadruples. They have to be very careful, otherwise there would be a lot of damage. The rest of the part is the vagina and the opening of it. Let's move back. Okay, now the egg. We have any question till here?
No.
All right. Moving ahead now, the structure of the female gamete or egg. Okay, now first thing, very large. It's very large. Why? Now you need to know about it. The sperms, when they are being ejaculated, the sperms are ejaculated almost 200 million. When they are ejaculated, there are almost 200 million sperms. But egg is only released, one egg is only released in one menstrual cycle. Mostly one egg is released. This is a strange fact. Every female is born with all the eggs she will ever have. That is quite strange, yet true. This is very important to know. See, the difference here has to be explained. The difference here has to be explained. When we talk about the female, the eggs from the female are never made by fresh cell division. Instead, at the time of birth, the at the time of birth, the eggs are made, and then their meiosis, their meiosis halts. Their meiosis halts. Halts means, you know that what is the meaning of halts? It would stop right there at the time of birth. The difference is all male gametes are by made by recent meiosis. Like their meiosis would be just recent, just fresh. They would be made by recent meiosis. And this is the difference. And this leads to many differences between the males and females, but let's forget it. Another very important thing is the cytoplasm is there, the nucleus is there, the cell surface membrane. All these parts are called as This has to be noted here that small sausage like things that you are looking at, these things, these are the mitochondria. And this is very important to know that all the newborn babies get their mitochondria uh, and everything else from the mother except the chromosomes. The chromosome is half contributed by the mother and half by the father, but the rest of the parts of the whole cell, the cytoplasm, the mitochondria, the endoplasmic reticulum, anything is provided by the mother. So mitochondria, there's a hell lot of significance of mitochondria, because the mitochondrial analysis make us able to um, uh, uh, find the maternity. You know, the paternity and maternity. The paternity test is from the DNA, but the maternity test is from the through the mitochondria. The last thing, the outer membrane. This is very improper to say that this is the outer membrane. It's a jelly-like covering, jelly-like covering called as, sorry, jelly-like covering around the egg, called as zona pellucida. Zona pellucida. It's a jelly-like covering. So it is not the outer membrane. Very important thing about it. Okay, the differences are mentioned over here. They are way smaller in size, produce in much larger amount, can move, like they are motile. They are motile, they can move. Female gamete larger in size, only one, mostly during one menstrual cycle. They cannot move, but one point I'll add over here, but they are pushed. The eggs cannot move, they are pushed by fallopian tube. They are pushed by fallopian tube. And to attract the sperms, it is a universal rule that to attract the sperms, there is a universal rule that the eggs would release the chemicals to attract the sperms. Okay. Any question till here?
No.
Okay. Just hold on a second. Okay. So next part is puberty. Why did we add the puberty here? The puberty point. Basically, it may belong to the previous syllabus, but the puberty is the point where there is a rise in the production of hormones. There is a steep rise. There's a very steep rise in production, in concentration of male and female hormones. Male and female hormones. And this is around, you can see the ages. Puberty comes at 14, and in girls it comes around 11 or 12. What are the male and female hormones? In males, the testosterone.
And
Testosterone is the
female estrogen.
estrogen. And basically, when the estrogen rises, it leads to the production of another hormone, progesterone, which basically adds in the female features. Adds in the female features. So, very important thing to know here is that the The sexual character that develop in the such later age are called secondary sexual characteristics. Okay, this is something to differentiate between the sexual characters. The primary sexual characters are those organs which are testicles and ovaries. Testicles and ovaries. The testicles and ovaries are primary sexual characteristics, meaning that if you find them, they are defining the primary sex. But secondarily, why they are secondary sexual character? Because in some, the all the results of the puberty do not appear. All the outcomes of the puberty do not appear, just like the facial hair or the body hair. Even the voice does not become deeper. So the male features and the female features, they the change in them is called as the puberty. What changes appear in the body? Growth of body hair, for example, facial, armpits, pubic, and overall body hair. The penile and testicle sizes increase. Sperm production starts. Larynx enlarges and voice deepens. But it is obviously not a universal thing. Then comes the features appear during puberty in the girls. Growth of hair in underarms and pubic. Breasts and uterus enlarge and hips broaden. This point is the, you can say that this is only skeletal difference between the male and a female, you know. The rest of the skeleton, talking about the skeleton, is exactly same, but the broad hip bones, and you know why the hip bones are broadened? Because they have to act like a cradle for the baby, if I'm saying it correctly. A cradle for the baby. The mother's embrace, the hip bone are exact template. They are exact cast to put the baby into it. And they are also really important to carry the burden, to bear the burden of the weight of baby. This is very important point here. Then the menstruation and ovulation start. What are the menstruation and ovulation? We'll talk about this later. But the other results of the testosterone and estrogen, you can say the skin texture of males is also a result of it. Then the hair fall rate. The hair fall rate in males is quite higher in than females because of the testosterone. Then, like, yes, muscularity. You are doing the gym. Do you know what the female gym players do when they need to gain the muscles and they need to make the cuts? What do they do?
Do they inject testosterone?
Yes, and the whole menstrual cycle disturbs
Yeah.
very much. Like, uh, none of the male bodybuilders or the weightlifters can feel the difficulties, like putting aside it should happen or not. You did not even tell me that I'm not sharing the screen. Did you see me writing here the puberty at the
On
slide
the
of
screen
puberty?
right now, it says puberty. The screen says puberty.
Okay. And what about this difference?
Now it says the changes in the bodies of children.
No, no, no. Like, uh, were you looking at when I was writing it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe I haven't changed the screen. All right. So basically, I was saying that putting aside it is good or bad, they have to take the testosterone and it disturbs the whole body mechanism. So muscularity, it helps in muscularity, but on the same side, you can see that the testosterone leads to more chances of CHD. What's the CHD?
Uh, coronary heart disease?
Yes, it increases the chances of coronary heart diseases. The skin texture of the female is because of the estrogen. The hair fall rate is because of the estrogen, low hair fall rate. The less muscularity and more fat. More fat is the result of the estrogen. The females have more fat, but not in their capillaries, not in their arteries. That is quite strange, but it is quite interesting at the same time that they don't have the fats in their arteries. They got the fats in their skin, under their skin, in different regions. So the voice of the female is also because of the estrogen. Okay, so these are the results of the hormone. Okay. Now, what is the menstrual cycle and what is the menstruation? This is very important. Menstruation starts at puberty. You got any question till here?
No.
All right. Hmm. Okay. All right. So basically, we are the going to study the menstruation. The menstruation is the phenomena of monthly discharge of blood or menses from the uterus via the vagina. Bleeding may last for 5 days or longer. Where does the blood come from? The same as I said earlier, that the blood comes from the endometrial wall being removed. And this is the phenomena that happens. In the very first 5 days, the uterus appear like this from inside. In the 5 to 15 days, it would appear like this. Then from 15 to 28 days, it would become like this. And then after 28, from 0 to like almost 0 to almost 5 days. Sorry, this would be from 5 to 10. There would be a change. This is from 5th to 10th day. Then this is 10 to 15 days, then 15 to 28 days, then 0 to 5 days. So it's a cycle that mostly circulates around the 28 days. Mostly, not strictly. Remember, it can change. So once the after 28 days, the suddenly the endometrial wall falls, and that is called as the menses or menstrual flow. Now, these are two brainstorming questions. Carefully read them and tell me, can you answer them?
First one, mm, you can. It's like the hormone imbalance, right? What makes the
Nope.
endometrial thicken?
What is the need of thickening? You don't know?
No,
Okay. What about the second one? How are you answering it?
no, I don't know that one. I don't know the second one either.
Okay, okay. Okay, so basically, what is the need of thickening of endometrial wall? Remember, your body works always uh, many steps ahead. The body works in the way like it works many steps ahead. What does it mean? It typically means that the body actually prepares for pregnancy each month. For pregnancy each month. It prepares for pregnancy each month. And the pregnancy obviously is expected. Why? If there is egg, there is expectation of pregnancy. So you have to thicken the endometrial wall. If there is no thickening at the time of zygote formation, believe me, it would result in abortion. It would result in abortion. That is why the body has to prepare. Secondly, what makes the endometrial wall thicken? It is the action of multiple hormones leading to leading to building new muscles and arteries in there. New muscles and arteries in there. So it has to be understood that there are many hormones that make the endometrial wall thicken by adding new muscles and arteries there. And the reason of endometrial wall, we have already understood that if the egg is being produced every month, then it is quite obvious that the body is not taking any chance. It is preparing itself every month for the pregnancy, because if the egg is coming, then there is 100% chance that the pregnancy can occur. We cannot wait for the fertilization to prepare for pregnancy, because once the fertilization is occurred, you can just write it over there. The body cannot wait for fertilization to occur. Fertilization to occur. No, it would be too late to occur. That would be too late. And so that is why the body prepares ahead of it. Now, what is the menstrual cycle? Now, one definition of the menstrual cycle is a series of biochemical changes within the ovary and uterus causes the endometrial wall to get thickened. This phenomena repeats after almost every month and is called as the menstrual cycle. A series of biochemical changes. Uh, okay, now I have a bit, I'm going to change this definition a bit. A series of biochemical changes in the body, leading to leading to major changes, leading to major events occurring in the body, in the ovary and uterus, causes the endometrial wall to get thickened. Okay, now, and in which, uterus in which, okay, let me repeat the definition. A series of biochemical changes in the body leading to major events occurring in the ovary and uterus in which the endometrial wall gets thickened. Okay, now this has to be understood in another way. A synchronized, a synchronized cyclic, uh, cyclic phenomena, cyclic phenomena of changes occurring in ovary and uterus, ovary and uterus. Um, this phenomena, this phenomena is synchronized with the help of hormones. Remember, no nerve is involved. With the help of hormones. A very strange word you will see over here, synchronized. Synchronization is remarkable in this phenomena. Remarkable. Another thing over here is it's a cyclic phenomena. I'm constantly saying this occurs in ovary and uterus. Remember that if you try to understand the menstrual cycle, you have two more cycles to understand. One is called as the ovarian cycle, and the other one is called as the uterine cycle. These two cycles, if we understand properly, then it would be very easy for us to understand the menstrual cycle. Okay, if I go take you back to this slide, basically this is the uterine cycle. First, building up, getting thicken and thicken and thicken, then losing all the thickness in the form of blood flow, then repeating the same process. This is the uterine cycle. You got it?
Yeah.
Then comes the ovarian cycle. Now, what is the ovarian cycle? Ovarian cycle is very simple. In the ovarian cycle, in every month, the uh, the egg develops. Remember, the egg was halted. I have already told you the egg was halted at the time of birth. Then it would starts developing. Then the egg releases, and the new egg is again ready. This is very small explanation of the ovarian cycle. Egg starts to develop, it develops, it releases, new egg is ready. Then it develops, releases, new is ready. Develops, releases, new is ready. This is the ovarian cycle. And remember, both have very great influences on each other. The ovarian cycle and uterine cycle, and the collection of the ovarian and uterine cycle is called as the menstrual cycle. All right, so that is the explanation of it. Everything clear?
Yeah. Clear.
Okay, we'll be talking the rest about the rest later. Let me have a look at some. Okay, it's a role of hormone control in the menstrual cycles, production of estrogen and progesterone, menstrual cycle. Okay, and in pregnancy, it's called the menstrual cycle. Development of hormone. The center. Okay. Okay, 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 fine. All right. The time that we have left, I'll be telling you. Okay, this slide is not required. This slide is not required. It's just for information. This slide is not required. This is not required as well. Let me have a look at it again. Uh, Reproduction in here, sexual hormones in humans. I have already. Testosterone, menstrual cycle, sites of estrogen. Okay, no, this is not required. Again, not required, not required. These were included in the previous syllabi. Typical methods. Yeah, now this is included. And sexually transmitted diseases. Basically, these are called as STDs or STIs or venereal diseases. And there are many types. Okay, this is very, I'm explaining this phenomena since it's like the 5 minutes topic. So we can utilize the rest of the time. I'll start the menstrual cycle explanation in the next class. So basically, the sexually transmitted diseases, remember that there is a large list of it. Hepatitis C, hepatitis B, even the typhoid, many of the diseases can be transported with the sexual acts. But the thing is that a few diseases are only and only able to be transported with very few means. Very few means. Why? See, the disease that we are going to study is the HIV, is the AIDS. It is basically the acquired immuno deficiency. Did we explain it in the immune system chapter? Or it's the first time we're talking about it?
I think you talked about it before.
Because I remember I have been telling you all the meanings of the acronyms. The virus for it is HIV, the human immunodeficiency virus. Okay, why do we call it acquired immunodeficiency? Why do we call it acquired? Because it not since birth. It is not a developmental disorder. It is not a congenital disorder. Like it is not, it does not happen since birth. Okay. All right. Now there are some diseases like chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis that occur due to bacteria. We do not need to discuss this one. We do not need to discuss this one. We do not need to discuss this one. Our only focus is the virus and only this disease. We'll not be talking about the rest of them. This table would make make us understand that uh, these diseases can occur with the rarest of the acts. Remember, these are reusing the syringes, reusing infected medical instruments, blood transfusion, breastfeeding, body fluid transport, then barber blades, unhygienic barber blades. So there are very few sources of these diseases to be transported from one person to another. That is why we call them sexually transmitted diseases. Remember, syphilis is not required. This is the AIDS. Symptoms of AIDS are chronic or persistent fever, severe diarrhea lasting for months, Kaposi's sarcoma, brain infection. This is very clear evidence. Blood vessels cancer, brain infection, widespread tuberculosis, many more infection due to destruction of the immune system. Basically, the HIV attacks on the T lymphocytes. And if you remember, if you try to recall, the T lymphocytes are basically the announcers of the body. Announcers. They are announcers of the body. It typically means that they announce that there is some sort of infection or some sort of critical problem. And if the T lymphocytes are finished, nobody is there to tell them that something has happened. These are called as T helper cells. T helper cells. Now, how the AIDS spread can be controlled. Avoid drug abuse. Okay, what is the relation of the AIDS to the drug abuse? This is basically for injection users, for syringe users. They repeat the syringe. Refraining from intercourse, free intercourse. Tracing the person whom had intercourse with him or her, like a person who has had the intercourse with the patient, they have to be traced and they have to be isolated. Using condoms is a very great method to avoid any venereal disease. Then do not share skin piercing instruments. It must not be shared. The tattoos, that is also a source. Avoid tattooing or go to reliable companies or persons. So that basically is the idea. Like the AIDS like diseases and some other diseases, they are spread